Somebody else.
I'm Hannah, I'm a sophomore at college. I want to read pharmacist.
All right, go get some drugs.
Why is the public's opinion of politicians so low?
That's a good question. What do y'all think about politicians? Let's open the floor for some.
And they've meant a lot.
Did meeting politicians make you think a little? How many of y'all have your opinion of politics changed as you met people? Politicians in you. How many of y'all? Okay. How's your opinion changed? Better, worse? Worse?
Both ways.
Both ways? You count.
Some of them don't know what we're talking about. You can tell.
And believe me, you're right. I've been doing this a long time, and I can tell you, you're absolutely right. Okay. Your opinion changed?
Yeah, not really necessarily in a bad or good way, just kind of in general. I don't know.
It's
It's
okay.
the same thing. It's just
They're people, right?
Yeah.
You learn they're people. They're people just like y'all.
Yeah.
That's the most interesting discovery. A lot of people see politicians like lawyers as a group of people. This big mass, they're politicians. They're people in these suits, and they don't have lives. They just exist to do things. Like an alien invading force, right? Or a group of robots or something, you know. I think because a lot of people don't understand politics. They let their views of politicians be influenced sometimes by not getting what they want or their perceptions. I'll tell you right now, very few people in Columbia are going to get everything they want on a bill. If you negotiate a bill, I'm working on one for my industry, we'll give at 78% what we want, sure. Some people will consider that a sell. There's some people in this, there's some people come spoken to y'all who would say 90% is not good enough. But in real life, I'll tell you right now, you never get 90% of what you want in a business deal. Negotiate a contract with a client, you're not getting 90% of what you want. Price on a house, buying a car, I'll tell you right now, you're not going to get it. For some reason, people think politics is different. Also because a lot of time we drive perceptions in politics. We're in the public eye. And sometimes because I think some people set themselves up as above everybody else. We see this, right? And then we see somebody like Mark Sanford who teaches us what? He's not better than the rest of us. He's like the rest of us, isn't he? I tell you what, the General Assembly is not full of the best people in South Carolina. They're often full of people just like you and I, our neighbors. They're representation of people of the state. We think that they're better people. They're not. Not to say they're bad people. Not to say we're bad people. They're our neighbors. And they're going to be the sum total of who we are and what we do. Who you send to Columbia, that's what you're going to get. If you don't like what's there, some of the people who have come and taught this class have told you the same thing I'm going to tell you. If you don't like who's there, what do? Yeah, you may run yourself. I've known people who've done that. Just because you may not have the best education, the biggest business, or the best family background does not mean you're any more qualified or less qualified than they are. So you get in there and you just, so people I think have we expect too much out of politicians. Should we expect certain things out of government? We should. Should we expect honesty, candor? Yes. How do you get reelected? You tell people bad news though. You make a choice. Do you get reelected? You tell them what they want to hear, so you get reelected, so you continue making a difference, or you tell them what they absolutely need to know all the time you come out of office for doing so. I know people take both approaches, and some people will drop being right. If you believe you're doing something good, are you going to compromise what you say so you can stick around and continue to make a difference? We do it all the time in our lives. People will sometimes tell people they want to hear, they believe they're better off being there than not being there. But I think overall, the biggest enemy is us. We think they're better than us, and they're not. If our politicians are truly better than we are, then it says something about both them and us. This is not an aristocracy. This is not Rome where the center is the elite which runs our country. Politicians are us, and if they're not, we're doing something wrong, and maybe they are too. I don't quite answer the question, but I hope it gave you something to think about. Come on.
No.
Somebody.
I'm Everett. I'm in 9th grade, and I want to become a lawyer. The
We
legislature.
were talking about politicians and talking about lawyers. Boy, I'm off the hook now. Go ahead.
The legislative axis of power currently resides in Charleston, and the former axis of power resided in the upstate. How desirable is it for the power to be concentrated in single areas like that?
Luck of the draw. It used to be this, back in the early 20th century, about 10 years, 15 years, Socktown was run by the Barnwell gang. Don't know if you're familiar with who they are. Saul Black, attorney from Blackville in Barnwell County, and long-time Democrat senator from Barnwell County as well. Just luck of the draw. That it just happens. Sometimes power shifts, power fluctuates where people are from, geography, it just works out. David Wilkins, the last Speaker of the House of Greenville. Before him was Bob Shaheen from Camden. Now it's Bobby Harrell from Charleston. Glenn McConnell, Senior Mayor of the State Senate from Charleston, or Senior Mayor of the Majority Party from Charleston. Actually, Hardy Peeler has 2 years seniority to Glenn McConnell, but Hardy Peeler wasn't member of the Republican Party until